I love your hat, brother. We're both. It's like this is our draft recap show. Even though it wasn't really planning that, but we're both rocking. I'm rocking my Zion. You're rocking your Grand Canyon. Nathan's rocking his Scooter company's hat.
Yeah, Scooter. That's his nickname for the show, Scooter.
Hey, Scooter.
Dude,
Electrified
so
adventure.
when I was at the Grand Canyon, did my little walkout, came back, and the first person I stopped to talk to is some lady more in a Michigan State fucking sweater.
Yeah.
And just she wanted to talk about Bell's Brewery here in town and drinking beer and coming to Kalamazoo. I'm like, the only person I talk to is like the person who loves Kalamazoo. It's so weird. But, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What a draft party, right? I mean, we can recap it a little bit before we move on to football. I mean, what a great location. What a great time was had. People were missed who weren't there, obviously. Justin and Jake, would have been nice to have you there. I'm sure it would have been.
And Josh, he should have been there too. But
it would have been nice if Josh showed up.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
Yeah, I really miss Josh. I mean, I felt like every time I turned around, I'm like, "Where's Josh? Where's Josh?" And then he was always like,
every time. Honestly, it could go down as the best draft weekend ever, maybe. I mean, I know part of it's because all the extra little trips that I did, Hoover Dam and Grand Canyon, so it made it like epic to me. But
yeah,
I think in the house, I think we had a great time, man. I thought it was a great weekend.
We're all turning into a bunch of old men, though. I had to shut the draft down at one point and make us all take a break because you guys were all screaming and yelling at each other like a bunch of old.
Yeah,
one guy fucking glitched, dude. One guy glitched.
Well, I think that's the one thing that makes me hesitate on saying it was the best draft weekend ever, was that I don't know if the draft was the best ever. The draft
I was going to follow it up with worst draft ever.
Oh,
best draft weekend ever.
Okay.
It was opposites, dude.
What was so made it so rough for you guys? It's obviously that we had to freak out, but what else about the draft was a losing aspect?
Well, listen, Ben, you have to take your responsibility for a part of it too. There was a couple of individuals in the back of the room that wanted to talk throughout the whole draft.
Oh, you guys were being a little oversensitive about the talking.
Ooh, no, grouchy Sean that day was being a little sensitive, dude.
The room that we were in had such an echo that we could hear every conversation in every corner of the room, and that was preventing us from hearing the bids that were being done. So it's a little bit different than an outdoor draft. Last year at Launch Point, we could talk to each other because it didn't, you didn't hear all the conversations that were going on. So I think that's what made the difference.
Well, I mean, I said it multiple times. I believe, honestly, the only difference is we're all sober. We've never drafted sober before. Honestly, the first 90 minutes of the draft, we're grumpy, 9 o'clock in the morning. It was like, everybody was mad. We got a drink or two in us. Second half went smooth. So I really think that's what it was. A morning draft. Everybody's sober. It's not us. It's not us.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Ben said it earlier that we're getting old. I mean, typically the night before a draft, we're up till 4 a.m. playing poker, right? And drinking ourselves silly. So then you start drinking the next day to get rid of the hangover, right? This first night of the draft, everybody wanted to go to bed early. There was only like 2 or 3 of us that wanted to stay up late. It was the 3 of us, actually.
Yeah.
We just recorded a podcast.
We should have.
Damn it.
Yeah, I think us 3 and Bobby and who was the other person?
I forget who it was. I honestly don't remember.
That Josh guy, was he there?
we were down there. At one point, we were down there trying to come up with games. Like you had exhausted all the games that you guys were playing on the poker tournament.
Throwing
on the
wiffle balls against poker tables on the wall.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
You know how Nathan is. He wants to challenge anybody at any time. So we had to start coming up with different games in that moment to yeah, it was fun. We were bouncing balls across the room and we had a good time. But
with all that being said, even though it was a terrible draft experience, I fucking love my team. How do you guys feel about your teams?
I'm excited. I know I probably got. I honestly don't remember. Did they put out a grading for this league? Do we have that? Draft grades for.
There were draft grades. I mean, Fantasy Pros always puts out theirs. So I mean, we talked about those at the draft party. But I'm more interested.
Yeah, I haven't seen the CBS one.
I haven't seen a CBS one either. I was just curious.
Yeah, I didn't see one either.
It's a good point. Yeah.
But why don't we look at the draft board and give it our own grade?
Can you share it from your screen, sir?
Which version of Bobby's are we talking about? Current team, that date team.
Honestly, I don't even
Like,
remember. I can't even tell you who's on Bobby's team. I haven't looked, but I know somehow Nathan traded him a player. He traded Nathan a player, but Nathan ended up in the second trade with both players back on his team. I don't really understand how that happened.
It was a lot of hubbub about nothing because the first trade they got accepted went through. So I mean, all the things that followed really were nothings.
that's
Okay.
that's not accurate. But the first trade that was accepted did not go through. There was 3 different iterations of the trade, and the last one that went through was nothing like the first one.
Oh, I thought the first one was Caleb Williams by himself for 2 guys, and then that's what went through. That wasn't the first version of it.
Oh no. You're talking about the Caleb Williams trade. No,
Yeah,
the
the
one
first trade.
The one that got countered twice was a trade between first it was Sean and Bobby.
Mhm.
Chase for like 3 people on Sean's team.
Yeah.
And then, I countered that. That one stood for about 24 hours. Sean antagonized me a bit. He texted me right before it was about to go through and said, "Hey, you're 1 hour away from having Chase. I just want to let you know I've already backed out. I've already canceled all of Bobby's counter offers. He's yours." And I said, "Okay." And then right before it was to go through, he sent me a "just kidding," and he countered me again and stole it.
So just for clarity, the first thing I said was accurate, correct?
No, you're on a whole different trade. You're on a Caleb trade. Never got counted.
Where is Caleb, by the way? Whose team did he land on?
Nate's.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, I traded for him.
Yeah.
Oh, you got him. Okay, because he
For
was
your third quarterback, right?
Well, I dropped Watson, who I never wanted.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yep.
okay.
I thought you were going to come talk to me about Tua at one point. The draft, you said you were going to trade. You never came. You never talked.
You know what? I thought about it, but then I just didn't see the pieces. I didn't see it working out for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think I want to
Ben-
use them week 1 anyways. So.
Ben, it says that the host has disabled screen sharing. Trying to share.
I
the
got it
draft
pulled up
board
just on the
because you-
Excel sheet, Ben, like normal. You can do it that way.
Where we should have done this before we started because I have no idea how to do that. Screen share.
Share screen, and then you have to bring up the draft board. Or you can give me access and I can share it. I have the draft board up right now.
Hold on. Try now. Give it a go.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Sorry for being a control freak. I didn't mean to.
Let me roll down the windows. Come on.
All right.
All right.
Can you guys see the draft board?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you guys are much smaller. This looks great.
Yeah. Anytime I could see less of you guys, that's
exactly
perfect.
That's a win.
Is that everybody?
can't-
Do we have everybody on the screen, or who are we missing? Or you have to scroll.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
no-
we can start with one team at a time. Let's just take a look at
No,
each team.
Steve
and
to
kinda
Alex.
see.
That's everybody.
Oh, that's everybody.
You guys-
There we go.
Everybody. Yeah.
Can you guys see Steve's team right now?
Yes,
yeah.
we can.
Yeah, it's all there.
Okay. So let's take a look at Steve's team here. Steve, his quarterback, Joe Burrow, I think for $8. I think that was a steal.
Well, hold on. Before we go team by team, let's talk about how overall the draft went. Because I think as we talk about prices, we should talk about how the draft went. And what made it so odd to me is the extreme prices at the top. My CD Lamb, Tyreek Hill. We almost paid $70 for these guys. Where CMC went 57 last year. So by us blowing so much at the beginning, some of us, people got super cheap afterwards. After like, I don't know, we all had 4 or 5 guys. People got cheap as hell. So the prices, some of these prices are amazing when you look at the $1, $2, $3 players. They were never that in the years past, right? I mean, it blows my mind.
I didn't think it was any different than any other draft we've ever had. I think the only difference is you were sober this time.
I bet if we did the math, the high-end guys went for quite a bit more.
Well, I mean, I think
I can show you.
You can't compare this to when players were just put up for bid, right? Because like a lot of times people would wait on good players to,
we did that here.
Well, I mean, a lot of the
Some of us, not
a lot of the
Bobby.
good players went.
I want to show you guys something. Are you able to see the 2021 draft right now? Is that
Yes,
what's
sir.
on?
Yep.
Okay. I was looking at this the other day. This is back when our budget was only $100. And look at this. Alvin Kamara, 41. So under today's budget, that's an $82 player. Okay.
Wow.
Derrick Henry, McCaffrey, 46. That's a $92 player, right? So this phenomenon of spending a lot of money for a couple of players isn't really new. In fact, if you look at a lot of teams, you'll see there's a ton of $1 and $2 players, and I've sorted this one for the benefit of this, so you could see how many $1 players are on everybody's team, $1 and $2 players.
All right, go to last year. Go to last year. You proved your point on that year.
I don't think the argument.
Although there's a lot of $30 guys, which would Oh shit!
This is 2022. Again, $70 for Jonathan Taylor, $64 for Christian McCaffrey. This is our first year with a $200 budget. So I mean, it wasn't new to this year that guys were spending $70.
No, I wasn't arguing that. It's not that the players were going for. I was thinking it. The amount of top tier players that were like in the first 25, and then this, you know what I mean? Like it felt like they came quicker. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they were
they
clumped
did.
together more. Yeah. Just like the valet driver, Alex's valet driver, they came quick.
It's cool that Alex asked for a rain check. You know, he'll get back to him later. That's cool.
That is actually why they give you the valet key, so that way you know you can.
What's he gonna do? That elephant march or whatever?
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, well, let's okay, we've addressed that. Now let's look at Steve's team. Okay, we got Joe Burrow for $8. We all agree that's a good price.
Well, compared to the other guys,
yeah, at that stage in the draft, it was a really good price. I wasn't even targeting Burrow, but you know, all of a sudden I felt compelled to put a bid in because of how cheap he was.
Let's look at the other. Let's look at the other top.
So, do you like Joe Burrow for 8 or Dak for 7?
I like Joe Burrow for 8 compared to Dak. Yeah,
a lot more injury history on Joe's side.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
let's compare him to some of the other quarterbacks here. So, I mean, obviously, the top one, Patrick Mahomes, 28.
Yeah, that's
right.
Crazy.
And if you're looking at Patrick Mahomes for 28 or Lamar for 16, I mean, to me, that's where you really see a big disparity. Is Patrick twice as good as Lamar?
In fantasy, I don't think so. Not in fantasy.
I mean, obviously the best price guy is Jordan Love at $2. Yeah. Top 5 QB last year at $2. That's a steal of drafted QB.
Yeah, I agree. And that was a result of everybody else being out of money, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
At the time that he went for $2, that was my max bid at that point. I could have bid like maybe 3 for him, but you know, I wasn't going to waste my.
And that was my target guy going into the draft. It's the guy I wanted, but
yeah, you got him in a lot of drafts this year.
Yeah. We're gonna have to speed up. We're gonna go team by team, guys. We only got like 25 minutes left, probably.
Where's my
team by team?
What did I pay for Jaden Daniels?
Well, he was a keeper, so that's
he was
different.
A keeper, yeah. So a little different. But you spent.
I'm just saying value wise. By the end of this season, I think he might be one of the steals of the draft.
Where is he?
He's not on my team on this page, so
he's
I was
down
curious.
here.
Oh, down
$6.
the bottom. Okay,
$6.
He was $6, and
Jordan Love's way better too.
I know you're a big Jaden Daniels fan, and I agree with you on his ceiling. I think his ceiling is certainly there, but again, we're talking about a rookie, and we're talking about a very skinny rookie who the knock on him is people say he doesn't know how to avoid tackles. Playing in the pros is going to be a lot different than playing in college.
Mimics RG3 in that way a little bit.
Yeah. So I think $6 is the right. In fact, would you rather have Jaden Daniels for $6, Matt, or Kyler Murray for $7?
Kyler Murray for sure at $7. Not even a question. He's done it before. We've seen him do it.
Right.
Yeah, and he has the new hot toy, the new shiny toy. I mean, yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Here's the thing with Jaden Daniels, who's he going to throw to?
Who's he going to throw to?
He's going to throw to F1. Okay, we got Terry McLaurin. Cool, awesome, 100%. He's a low end number 1 on a great team, maybe a high end number 1. But then you have 4 guys that wouldn't make it as a 3 on most teams. Yeah. Zacchaeus, Diami Brown. Noah Brown got dropped, picked up the same day or the next day, and is already started in their team. And he's like 28 or 29. So Jaden Daniels just doesn't have the weapons this year.
He has Luke McCaffrey.
He's 5th on the team right now. He may play later in the year.
Not anymore. Look at the depth chart. He's 4th? Number 2. He's number 2 on the team right now.
No,
he's over Damani Brown as the.
I understand you're defending your guy, and that's fine. Right. But Luke McCaffrey is, I mean, there's a reason that Luke McCaffrey wasn't drafted until the middle of the NFL draft.
Because he's a basketball player, right?
He's just not not there yet. There's no reason to say that Luke McCaffrey is a stud yet, right?
Nobody's saying he's a stud. I'm just saying he has people to throw to. You guys are saying.
But Ben, which depth chart are you looking at? Because on CBS on our website, it doesn't show him. It shows him at like 4 or 5 on our depth chart.
That's not what
I just looked at it because in preparation of this conversation.
I think his number 2 just got dropped today. I think his number 2 is actually on waivers.
Zacchaeus?
Well, Zacchaeus is on the depth chart number 2, but as far as fantasy goes, I think Diami might end up being the number 2 most valuable guy there, and I think Bobby just dropped him this morning.
I think Noah Brown's the best after Terry McLaurin.
Is he still on the team?
He's put up what 550 yards back-to-back years on different teams. I mean, I think with steady feeding that guy, I think he's gonna be the number 2. But enough about Washington. That's right.
Seriously.
Enough about Washington.
Who's the best value? Who do you think got the? I mean, other than Jordan Love, who do you think got the best value at quarterback for the money?
No, it's got to be that. There's no. I don't think there's anybody else in competition. $2, man. $2.
Yeah, that's a steal.
Top 5 QB last year. I mean, it's hard to beat that. Who do you? I mean, you want to say somebody? Who do you think?
No, I mean, I think all these guys that are 7 and under, I think are good values. Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow. I mean, anytime you can get a quarterback that's going to put up the numbers that those guys are going to put up, as long as they stay healthy for that price, I think you're in good shape. And it makes you wonder why somebody would be willing to pay 28 for Mahomes or 25 for Allen, when you can get a guy like Dak Prescott for 7. I'm not sure I follow the logic there. The numbers just don't kind of bear that out.
I was amazed to get Dak Prescott, and I never wanted him, but I had CD, so of course I wanted him at that point for the stack. But never targeted him, but happy to get him at 7.
Okay, instead of going team by team, are there any other big people that you guys were surprised went for certain amounts or steals of the draft? You guys want to highlight those instead of trying to go team by team?
Well, you guys want to go by maybe position, Ben, and we did quarterbacks. Maybe look at all the running back values next and see who got something there.
Is that easy to do with? I guess those are the starters.
On the draft board. Let's go starters. Let's go starters.
Starters.
Keep it easy. Yeah, just starters. Look straight across the board.
Well, obviously all the best running backs, other than McCaffrey, all the best running backs were keepers this year, right? So or all the top tier, guys. So obviously McCaffrey going at 65, that could be great if he does what he did last year, or it could shoot you in the foot if either A, he suffers any kind of injury, or B, as they're talking about, takes a lot less of a load this year. They're saying, they may give Mason, 10 carries a game, up to 15 carries a game. So maybe the McCaffrey 65 won't look that great. But other than that, I mean, I thought the running backs people were pretty measured on how they spent their money at running backs. The biggest value that I thought happened, actually 2 of the biggest values, were both for Jeff. I think early on, getting Derrick Henry for only 24, and then getting Alvin Kamara for 24 in a PPR. I get it. They're both old, and they both come with their risks. But to be able to get both of those guys, at such low price tags, allowed him to really build some other pieces around him. I think Jeff's somebody we need to watch out for this year.
I think at the start of the season, Kamara. Yeah. I think started the season, Kamara. I mean, who else does he have behind him? You know what I mean? Like he's nobody. Like he has nobody behind him, right? And they're just going to keep feeding him, keep feeding him. I think his volume, he's by just volume alone, Kamara is a one of the steals right there.
I think part of the reason that Kamara was so good last year is because that offensive line in New Orleans is so bad, and Derek Carr has happy feet, and he just dump off. He's he's scared to hold it, and I think that's one of the reasons that Kamara was great last year. And then you look at what they did this year; they didn't add any pieces to that offensive line. Right. So what makes you think it's going to be any different?
So here's how I see the Saints going. I think that Taysom Hill steals a lot of goal line work as a running back because they know Kamara's age. So if Kamara's not scoring from outside the 15, I think he's going to get vultured a lot. But I also think that Derek Carr's on the way out. I think by like week 5, week 6, that Spencer Rattler will be in. And I think that'll change the whole thing. Kendrick Miller will be back at that time. I think the youth will be coming in, and it'll be a rebuilding year. But I think Taysom Hill vultures way too many touchdowns probably from Kamara to make that valuable.
I agree with you on those points. Listen, even if every single one of his goal line touchdowns is vultured, Kamara is going to be valuable. If he gets 5-6 catches a game, that's like getting a touchdown every game, right? Sure. So right off the bat, he's valuable because of that. But I agree. I played in a Yahoo league that we just drafted, and I didn't realize that Taysom Hill was eligible at tight end until after the draft, and I was kicking myself for not noticing that because, Taysom Hill, if you can play him at tight end, that guy's going to be.
Why isn't he available in our league that way? He's only QB in ours. Can you set that or?
I might be able to, but we had this discussion once before, and we said that we were not going to change it until CBS changed it. This came up a few years back.
Well, the only reason I'm asking now is because he's pretty much been taken out of the QB role. Like they've said that he's no longer the QB backup.
I mean, he's listed as the number 2 on our website on the depth chart.
It's the same thing as Velus Jones, who's looked so great as a wide receiver, as a running back. and he's only eligible at wide receiver. And so,
Maybe he shouldn't have graduated college at 27. They wouldn't get him mixed up so much. He's like 28 as a second-year player. It's crazy.
It says he's available as a tight end on CBS, so you should be able
What?
to. Yeah, it says he's eligibility flex QB tight end on Taysom Hill.
That must have just changed then.
Yeah,
it was QB before the draft.
I thought whoever drafted him, I thought I heard somebody say that something about that at the draft, that he was available as a tight end.
I think you might be looking at that wrong.
I'm looking at it wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
How?
I just looked at it not that long ago.
Yeah, I looked at it recently also, and he was only QB.
Well, then
if you're looking at it,
is the TE next to his name? That means he's not available. That means he is.
They could have just changed it. Are you on our actual league site, Ben, or just CBS General?
I'm on CBS, the app. I'm looking right at it.
But are you on our league site looking up like that way?
Right. Ben's right. He's eligible at tight end.
Pick him up. Pick him up. Pick him up. Nobody can pick him up during the draft. All right, no, stop.
He's already on Steve's team.
It's bad form to do it during the draft.
He's already on Study Buddies.
All right.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, but Study Buddy is a different league.
Yeah, that's Dynasty.
Oh, sorry.
No, he's. Let me see what team he's on in this league. In our main league. Oh, he just got picked up.
So it just changed then. It had to just change, guys. It was only QB.
He just got picked up by you son of a bitch. You son of a
Nate, dirty dog. Dude, that's not good programming. Take it back. Take it back.
Nah, man, you get to see in real time, guys, how the angle works. All right.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we saw your angle so much. You admitted it so many times that weekend. It's all good. I mean,
well, you guys are kept misdefining things as angles that weren't angles, but
no, dude, I angle everything I can too. But it's just better to point out your angles to our friends and point out mine.
Yeah, it's like the old. Nathan makes bad trades, when clearly the evidence has shown that there's a few people in our leagues, in all of our leagues, that make far worse trade offers than me, but I'm still somehow the representative of that.
Well, I mean, Ryan's are called the poo-poo platter for a reason. I mean, although he's better about that now, but that a couple years ago. Woo.
I got an offer from Joe just a couple of days ago, and he offered me literally the worst two players on his team for Keenan Allen. Like, just the worst two players on his team.
Was it
nobody ranked worse?
Skinny Keenan or Fat Keenan?
It
was Fat Keenan. I get it.
Resurgence Keenan.
All right. Any other?
Did you say resurgence? Did you just try to trade him away?
No, he doesn't need to be a resurgent. I actually, I tried to trade him to Bobby the other day, and Bobby's like, "Oh, I'm not trading for Keenan Allen." And I showed him. I'm like, "Dude, look at the last 3 years. This guy is severely underrated. You look at the last 3 years average. He's right up there in PPG with all of the elite wide receivers. I mean, Keenan Allen's like a top 5-6 wide receiver. Last 3
Injury
years.
history has a lot to do with the last couple of years.
Right.
Well, I think anyway.
A couple of games a year.
Yeah, he misses a few, but he's on
a
new team.
Whoa, that sounded like I got really loud. Sorry. I believe it's only a 2-man job, wide receiver in Chicago. I don't think Rome's going to be doing much this year. I think for sure it's Keenan and DJ, and they both are 1,000-yard receivers. They both have 8 touchdowns or something. I think they're both going to be fucking studs.
I haven't heard.
I think Rome's going to be on the side.
Really? I mean, like the side, like not playing?
No, playing, but he's a rookie, and they don't. I mean, they'll use him. Okay. But I think it'll be by and far very clearly a third wide receiver. Like not even close.
Well, I mean, Keenan,
500 yards, 2 touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Keenan's going to soak up a lot of receptions. He's that guy, you know what I mean? He's always been in possession.
I wouldn't be surprised if Keenan leads the team in receptions. But DJ leads the team in yards and fantasy points, and then Rome, he might still be a very valuable piece, on that offense if they're running the way they look on Hard Knocks. But no, by far, I think that Keenan's better than Rome this year, or more valuable than him.
Man, if I cared that much, I'd definitely bet you DJ'd outperform Keenan PPG, but I don't care that much. But I just think DJ's such a better receiver at this point in his career.
I said DJ for PPG. What I said was Keenan receptions.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Then I guess we're on the same page. Okay.
Well, glad we cleared that up. Yep. What else, receiver wise, do you guys see? Anything else that stands out?
We kind of skipped over running backs a lot.
Okay. Well, did you have any comments on running backs?
Did you see anything that you wanted to
I thought Rachaad White was way overpriced as a keeper.
I think Josh Jacobs at the beginning of the season is going to be a steal because their backups hurt and the other guys hurt also, I think.
Can we talk about Josh Jacobs for a second?
Yeah.
This strikes me as a situation where, and I get it, Josh Jacobs was really good 2 years ago when he was trying to earn a contract. He was one of the best running backs in the league. But last year he was dog shit, right? And I get it. The Raiders weren't great, but and in previous to 2 years ago, he was always underperforming for for his draft slot. He was a highly recruited running back. So he's got one good year under his belt. He goes to the Packers and people aren't really that excited about him, but now all of a sudden, because his backups are hurt, people are excited again. And I'm seeing this.
I don't necessarily think they're excited. It's just a matter of volume. You know what I mean? He's the only guy available, so he's gonna get the run. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I was referring to.
I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Jacobs. I don't want to put any like stamps on this, but look out for Emmanuel Wilson, who I picked up and dropped in the main league already.
I know.
Look out for Emmanuel Wilson. I think he's going to have some play, and then look out for Marshawn Lloyd. I know he's a little bit banged up right now as well, but I'm not buying into Josh Jacobs having.
Nobody's saying he's going to be on. I was just saying at the very beginning of the season, I think he's a good value because he doesn't have nobody behind him. Marshawn's hurt. Fucking I think Emmanuel Samuels is hurt also.
Emmanuel Wilson
or Wilson, whatever his name is.
So I went to pick up Wilson today after Nate dropped him, but he's on waivers, so I didn't. He averages like 6.5 yards a carry. I like him, and if I had anywhere to put him, I would have already picked him up.
Yeah,
but the guys I have,
hip
I have
injury.
enough questions. Huh?
Hip injury.
Yeah, but that just came on. It could be something. And knowing that he's their only other healthy running back, I think they're just resting him before the game. I don't think it's an issue.
But the stat that I read that made me pick up Emmanuel Wilson is that, and I know it's preseason, but they said that he leads the league in preseason in yards after tackle or yards after contact, and that to me is something that Josh Jacobs has never been good at, is getting yards after contact. So I think that could become a valuable role on the team. But then I saw the hip injury and I was like, okay, I'm just going to cycle through and pick somebody else up.
Oh, I knew why you dropped him. So I looked at him and go, oh, yeah, that's why. But here's the thing. I think the Josh Jacobs last year was an effort issue because he knew he was on a crappy team. I mean, look at Devontae last year, yelling and screaming on the sideline. They were unhappy. Nobody was happy. I think it was an effort, save myself from an next contract. I think he's going to look like he did 2 years ago or closer to that than he did last year.
Okay, we got like 9 minutes. So you want to run through wide receivers real quick?
Wide receivers.
Anybody?
T. Higgins might be the best value at all.
We all know Jamar's practicing. So is that whole scandal over with the Bengals?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't think there was ever a question. I think he was always going to be back on the field. Now, whether he's going to be at full go week 1, I may end up benching him in the Dynasty League. I have other options. I could put Diggs in, for example, in Dynasty.
When you say full go, meaning he's not going to be ready, or they're not going to give him
a full allotment of rep shit.
Yeah, he'll be on a pitch count. Typically when guys hold out this late into the offseason, they're on a pitch count. They don't want to risk injury to their superstar. And so, if you have, most leagues don't have an option where they can bench him. I could bench him for either Diggs or McLaurin in our Dynasty League. So
good for you. Good for you, sir.
Well, if I was a coach, I'd bench him for the first quarter.
Yeah.
If I was a coach,
a wealth of options.
Bench him for the first quarter. That way, if you need him at the end of the game, you can already have made your point.
Hey, Matt, you said T. Higgins was a screaming value, and listen, I think T. Higgins is due for a huge season this year for sure. But when I think of screaming value, I'm not looking at the $15 guys, right? He probably should have gone for 20, 21, whatever. But
I heard
there's a lot of wide receivers that went for like 2, 3, 4 that I thought should have gone for a lot.
Christian Watson at 3, you're right. That's a fucking smoking deal.
That's a steal. I heard T. Higgins today. I was listening to some podcast. I don't remember which one, but they were saying that he's, everybody's excited for him, but when Chase is on the field, he kind of disappears, right? So like his value isn't as, he's not as the same guy when Chase is there. So
I don't know that that's the case. So T. Higgins was dealing with an injury last year, which I think impacted him more than anything. 2 years ago, they were both on the field. They're both healthy. And T. Higgins was the top 24 wide receiver. Okay. So yes, he's not a superstar, but he's a wide receiver too, right?
Okay. I just think everybody's so excited. Everybody's like, "This is his year." He's But with Chase there, is he really gonna take that step forward?
Do you think he can have 80 catches for 1,000 yards, Ben?
Sure.
Easy.
Yeah.
Do they still have Tyler Boyd on that team?
No, he's in Tennessee.
He's gone.
Their 3 is Andre Ayavosas or something like that. Correct me.
We got to figure out how to pronounce that because I don't know how to do it either.
I got him in Dynasty some places. Here's the thing. There's a report that came out about Jermaine Burton today. Did you see that?
No.
It came out
Yeah,
just like
they
an hour
say
or
he's
two
got
ago.
that. I saw something that said he's got that doghouse in him.
Oh no, the one that came out today was really negative, like 90 minutes ago, saying clearly is far down the depth chart because of his mistakes that he makes. And like Joe Burrow says, his quote, he needs to stay in the playbook. And the coach says, we caught him sleeping through meetings. So I guess the reason he dropped in the draft is still relevant there, and he's nowhere near making the field, which is
Yeah,
bummers. I have him as a keeper, but yeah.
I'm glad it was a joke that I was copying from somebody else because it's a bad joke and it clearly went over your head. He's got the dog house in him.
Gotcha. Okay. It was a bad joke. Good. Thanks for calling
bad
it
joke. Yeah, I read that this morning too.
That's funny.
out.
Should we get the Rams in this show because we always talk about them, or should we just skip over those two?
Yeah,
Skip
skip
over
over
those
those
two.
For the
fuckers.
Rams.
Any other
Tight
wide
ends.
receivers, tight ends? Let me ask you this. Who's the number one tight end at the end of the season? Do you guys think? Fantasy wise.
Points.
I mean, how do you
Fantasy wise
how
this
do you
year.
go against Kelsey?
Because he's old and going to arrest him for the playoffs, is what they say, if you buy into it.
I have
Okay,
no
well, then
skin
I'll-
in the game, but I'm just curious what you're gonna say because I know I've heard a lot about this one player.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have heard me plant my flag. I'm big on Kincaid this year. I think
Yeah.
That's
Kincaid.
not the
Yeah.
player I was figuring about.
Well,
I think he has an opportunity also, but this other player I've been hearing a lot about,
Who's that?
Mr. McBride. I heard a lot of people saying
Sure.
that he could easily be the number one tight end this season in fantasy.
Oh, if you just extrapolate what McBride did after Ertz got hurt last year
year.
and just expand that over a full season, then yeah, he's the best tight end in the league. You have to remember though that they had no other wide receivers to throw to last year, right? So
yeah,
he's
totally.
he's gonna have less of a target share this year with MHJ there.
Or he turns into Kelsey and he is the target share and everybody else is sprinkled in. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we've seen tight ends take over teams before, even though they have awesome receivers as well. You know what I mean? So
then I plant my flag. If he's healthy, Mark Andrews, his year. He's been hurt a lot the last couple of years. He's still fucking top of the notch, elite tight end.
did everybody
And he finally has a receiver like Zay to play outside of him. I don't know. If he's healthy, he can
is
be.
everybody forgetting about how good Laporta was?
No.
No, of course not. Laporta's
But
great.
they have Amon Ra on that team, and
but
Gibbs, and David Montgomery.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been saying for years is I say that what I always try and do is I try and target a tight end who has elite skill set, but also plays on a team with limited options, right?
Yeah.
If they've got a ton of options, then there's going to be less of a target share. And so that's why a guy like Kincaid, who they don't really have a lot of options in the passing game this year, a guy like Kelsey, who has benefited the last few years ever since Tyreek left, Mark Andrews, that's really been what his calling card was. And even Kittle, who broke the record, what was it, 6-7 years ago, he broke the tight end record because we had no wide receivers that year. That's the kind of tight end that I want on my fantasy team.
I know he's a little banged up. He has a hamstring right now that just came out yesterday or today, whatever. Kyle Pitts with a new quarterback, a real quarterback.
And a hamstring.
First 1,000-yard tight end rookie season ever. And, does he somehow, if his hamstring is not that bad, does he end up at the top 5 this year, Kyle Pitts?
He has a talent.
I can see it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised by it. I mean, I wasn't risking any of my. I think I have him in one guillotine league, but other than that, I wasn't really high on Kyle Pitts. But I could definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, he's got the skill set for sure.
Also, everybody kind of glanced over Evan Ingram because Evan Ingram,
a lot of catches.
He had a lot of catches last year.
Here's a sleeper that I like for tight end that's still on the bench, and he's great in best ball. I took him everywhere. It's just hard to know what week it'll happen, but Jonnu Smith.
Dude, I've been talking about him.
Dude, that guy, his speed down the middle with those other receivers and their speed and those running back speed. Dude, he could be the. They don't need him, but he could be huge.
He could be the end zone target this season for sure, dude.
Yeah.
That's what he's all done. His whole season has been an end zone target. And I told Ryan in our Empire League, I was like, bro, let's grab him. Let's just take the chance. Because if this is the right situation for him, he could be special there. You know what I mean?
I bet he'll have multiple 2-touchdown games and a lot of 0-point games.
Yeah.
As somebody who as somebody who kept Kincaid for $18, and I knew that was kind of high for a tight end, but I believed in him. I was biting my fingernails every time a tight end was up for auction because I wanted them to go for more than $18. So
Yeah.
when Trey McBride, when it looked like he was going to get sold for 13, like early on, and I was stressing out, and then he finally made it to 18, I was like, whoo, sigh of relief. And then the same thing with Mark Andrews, he went for 20. I was pissed about Kelsey. I thought he would go for like 25, but every time a tight end went for at least 18, I was like, oh, okay, thank God I didn't overspend for my tight end. So,
which makes me love Kittle at 10. And I know he's got boom and bust games, no doubt, but
yeah,
I love him at 10.
I'm also happy with Jake Ferguson at 12. I think he's
more red zone throws than any tight end last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm really happy about that. I don't know, team Matt, you're stoked, you're excited, you're ready to go.
I like my
you're locked in.
Ryan told me I'm his only competition this year.
All right.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Nathan,
listen, and I wish we got more into it. There was a lot of different strategies this year, and I think some guys really went to the extreme with their strategy this year. But I'm going to plant my flag, and I'm going to tell you right now who's going to win our fantasy championships because
I'm
it's
excited to hear it.
Who the best team is.
Let's hear it.
Wait, can we guess who he's going to guess? Wait, Ben, guess who Nate's going to guess.
The best team this year is going to be
Jeff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there.
That's where we're going to cut it.
Really?
Yeah.
What? That's where we're cutting it.
That's the end of it.
Yeah. No.
What do you want to say, Matt?
We talk till the end. That's how it works.
What do you want to say?
Hey, do you guys
Your
want to
opportunity. Tell us, plant your flag in somebody.
Well, you can't pick yourself, so I'm going to pick Nate. Oh, no, I'm going to pick...